Hi, my name is Josephine and these are my creatures. Today I will be sharing the creation of a doll I started back in fall of 2019. More on that later on the video, so keep on watching. To give you guys an idea what I'm working on, I created this collection of free stock images. They are not exactly what I had in mind, and my plans do change a bit over time, as you will see. But if you want to see my full inspiration, I will leave my Pinterest handle below. There may also be some sneak peeks of upcoming dolls in there, so do check it out. My main inspiration was the cherry blossom, but I also wanted to create a fashion mashup of traditional Japanese clothing and modern high fashion design. There is a little bit of Chinese influence also, probably because I chose Gina Longfire as the base doll this time. I love Gina's face mold, it's so East Asian to me, but I can also see an Indian character working really well with this face mold. I do the prep same as always, cut off the hair, remove the head and the remaining stubble. For her hair, I decided to mix pink sapphire and a raspberry smoothie nylon hair from Retro Dolls EU. Some of you guys have been asking a link to the shop. Unfortunately, I can't find the website anymore, so I can only assume that they have closed down. That's a real bummer for me because they had super fast delivery to my country because they were located in Sweden. I still have some stock left from Retro Dolls EU, but I placed my first order on Doll Hair Emporium on Etsy. It is a UK-based shop, so I will share my opinion when the hair arrives. I liked Gina's original hairstyle so much that I went with a similar one as well. I bind the hair and do a couple of boil washes to set the style. While the hair dries, I start working on her face. I promised to share the story of why I started to work on her back in 2019 and only now in 2021 finally finished her. As some of you guys might remember from my Moon Goddess doll video, I was in multiple swaps in 2019 to 2020. But because of the ongoing pandemic, those swaps ended up being cancelled. Now, I had already finished her face up super early, even before the swap was fully realized. And during that time, the fall of 2019, I already had my channel, and the deadline for the swap was on July of 2020. So I couldn't justify finishing a doll that I would not be able to show on my channel until the summer. So I had to put her to side and hopefully resume working on her. But then the pandemic rolled around and we didn't have any info on what was going to happen to the swaps. So I decided it was not wise to try and keep the original deadline of July 2020 because I had the channel and I needed something to upload. Then the spring of 2021 came and the cherry blossom theme we had for the swap made sense in a spring video. So I resumed working on her, and you have to remember that I started to work on her in our old apartment, which you can see a little peek of in this video. Okay, story time is over, let's get back to the doll. I had to add a layer of white to her lips and eyeshadow, because the pink pastel was not showing up on her golden skin tone the way I wanted to. I'm giving her brown eyes. I've made a lot of dolls with brown eyes, but what can you do? It's such a neutral color, it goes with everything. I detailed the lips and add color to her eyebrows. She is so sweet looking. I remember loving her face up when I first finished it. I kept this bit in so that you can see how many times I redid the lashes, and the left side took me even more tries to get it right. I wanted to add something to her eyes, so I tried a bunch of different things from my nail decorations that I have hoarded quite a stack of. I settled for this golden rhinestone with a hollow shift. To gloss the eyes and fix the rhinestones in place, I use my Tamiya gloss glaze. Her face up is done. I used pins, beads and some chain to create hair decorations for her. Ribbons are great for doll customizing. This little sakura decoration is made up of 2 different kind of ribbons and some beads. I ended up making more of these to decorate her outfit. So let's give her some clothes. My mind changed a lot when it came to her clothing. The very first idea was to do these dramatic high fashion pants for her, but then I wanted to do this tall, puffy 50s ball gown with all this delicate embroidery. The time went on and I happened to purchase Moonlight Jewel's sewing books, and there was a pattern for a doll-sized hakama pants, and they were just perfect. Because hakama pants are a traditional Japanese piece of clothing, and I wanted to do this mashup of modern and traditional. I still loved the idea of doing delicate embroidery or beading, so I paired the pants with a kimono-inspired wrap top made out of tulle so it would be see-through. I made a pattern using some painter's tape and paper. I wanted the bodice part and the upper part of the sleeves to have more coverage, so they have 3 layers of the tulle while the rest of the sleeves only have 2. I basted the pieces together so that they would act as one layer when I worked on them. To add even more sparkle to the beading on the sleeves, I added tiny rhinestones as well. They are in the same color as the ones I added to her eyes for a delicate sparkle. I created binding for the sleeves and the neckline of the top out of this light blush pink satin. I wanted to use ribbon, but I didn't have the right color, so I opted for making my own. I also hid a piece of wire inside the binding so that I can pose the sleeves for photos. And on doll scale, things don't fall the same way as they would on human scale, so you have to force things a little bit. I also beaded the bottom part of the top to give her some modesty on the chest. This is a great trick when sewing on sleeves. I use a paintbrush that is big enough to fully fill the sleeve. The sleeve needs to be right sides up on the paintbrush, and then you layer the bodice on top, right side facing inward towards the right side of the sleeve. We also recently got a 3D printer, which I'm so excited for. I decided to print something small for my first try, so I went ahead and bought Elisa's, aka Moonlight Jewel's 3D print shoe bases. I gave the print a little sand and then painted it black. I cut out all the ribbon pieces that I will need, and I also cut out inner soles out of craft foam. These shoes are a modernized version of the traditional Japanese shoes called gita. For the doll to be able to wear the shoes the way they are supposed to be worn, which is a flip-flop style, I drill a hole in between the doll's toes so it looks like she's wearing the shoes correctly between her toes. I gave her tail a paint job so that it would match with the color scheme of the doll. I first wanted to have only pink and gold, but later on decided to add some small accents of red. Usually I finish the body right after the face up, but here we are, I'm doing it last. I really like Gina's sculpted scales, so I'm just adding blushing to bring it out more and to match the face and the body. Then it's assembly time. I like to cut down the neck peg, especially when she has all these pins in her head as hair decorations. So I go on and start trying to put her head back on, and the face just cracks and the head is not going in. So I heat some water and soften the head in it to try again. I tried to be as gentle as I could, but I did end up damaging the face up quite a bit, as you can see. At some point I did consider redoing her face just because it was so old, but I also think that it would be nice to see the progression in my skill set, so I decided to try and remove the worst of the cracking with acetone. I think this happened because the MSC after more than a year was just completely bone dry and there was no flexibility in it whatsoever. I was lucky that the cracks were not on anything that I had drawn on, so it was just plain MSC that had cracked. I added a bead to the shoes as closure, and I decided to add a tiny decoration to the sole as well. She is so different than what I usually go for in my dolls. I'm not a huge fan of the color pink. I like it in moderation mixed in with other colors, so she's very different. But I really do like her hairstyle, the clothing. All the beading in her outfit took like 5 full episodes of The Outlander, and now I'm super inspired to do another 1800s style doll. I did one before I had the channel. When it comes to her inspiration, I do think I drifted off from just having Japanese influence to having a little bit of Chinese in there as well. And because I'm not part of this culture, it's kind of difficult to tell where exactly some of my influences came from. But do tell your opinions in the comments down below. Just keep in mind, I'm not doing this to steal someone else's culture. I'm just simply inspired by it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet done that, like this video and leave a comment. I would love to know what you think about my cherry blossom girl. Until next time, bye!